right, guys, we are live for the 101 episode of the Red Room. If you missed episode 100, it was like an hour and a half long. We all had a good time. We were over at Brent Daniels' studio. We actually ended up with like, I don't know, 300 views on that one. Actually, probably the biggest video that I had on the Red Room as far as views go. So it was pretty good. I think we all had a good time. The market is kind of, is what it is. It's nothing exciting. It's fun watching the war go on and watch the 10-year drop, and then things kind of settle out, and it comes back down, and it drops again. And but just some little stats. We're sitting at like 26,000 units. It's nothing real exciting. Nationally, inventories basically up 31% year over year. So I think we were looking, if we were on this episode last year, I think we were kind of 16,000 units. Now we're, almost 25,000 units. The days of just being able to paint carpet and throw it up there and not use someone like Tracy that knows what they're doing, or someone like Luke that knows what they're doing on their remodels. I basically did 5 remodels this fall and basically broke even. Good times. It's always fun to do 5 remodels.
Hey, well, Luke's out staging today, so don't feel too bad.
Yeah, come on, exactly.
we're all hustling, brother.
So, but yeah, we are sitting here knocking on the door of July 1. So, you got a slow market, and you got seasonality just getting ready to step in here any moment. Like mid-August, it's going to be August, September, October all over again. Now, it won't be an election year like it was last year, which was a ghost town also. So, but definitely a slower market, making us actually work a little bit more. So, we got
no
Justin
question about that.
We got Justin on here, the Tattooed Realtor, who has obviously set himself aside from a lot of us, but he's using that tool, if you will, to market himself and stay on top of his game. And I think these guys go to the gym together, Luke and Justin. I'm sure they're curling like 15s and 20s.
I'm just trying to look like Justin over here. Yeah. This guy's a beast. This guy's a beast in the gym.
Yeah. So anyway, Justin, thanks for jumping on.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Heck yeah. So for those of you guys that don't know, and Chris, Tracy, I'm not sure if you guys have seen him. So Justin had the massive billboards with like the super bright colors. Mm-hmm. How would you explain it, Justin? Like kind of like almost looks like it's like paint, right?
Yeah, like guerrilla marketing type stuff. So I used to take like movie, like trendy stuff, things that go viral or that create trends, and I would make a billboard out of it. So the most popular one was the NSYNC one, where I put my face all over their bodies and it said buy, but B-U-Y, B-U-Y, B-U-Y.
Yeah.
And it said, are you not in sync with your living conditions? Let's talk. So it was more try to get attention more than, and I did that because my very first billboard was just me, and I had like a real estate. We learn as agents to do call to actions, to have that kind of messaging. And when I put it up there, it was getting made fun of on Facebook. Like people were like, is this really a thing? And I had 2 agents like repost it. And so I started thinking because I'm just a logical thinker. I don't think real estate minded. I just kind of think as an average consumer in an industry I'm in. So what I figured is if they're gonna make fun of it anyway, I might as well just do the guerrilla marketing, because if I'm up there and they're not taking me serious, delivering a serious message, then why deliver the serious message at all? Just try to get the eyes on it. So billboards will charge you per drive-by. That's what they vary the base billboard monthly cost off of. So I started putting my Instagram on there, and that NSYNC one got shared over 500 times on social media stories. So now it's like not only are you getting the billboard views now, but you're getting a billboard blast all over social media too, as long as you make it something that people want to blast out. So you got to grab their attention, good or bad, but you have to make them either hate you or love you and repost it.
Well, that's awesome, because like you said, you drive by a billboard that's like the average billboard that you see. you're not taking a picture of it. You're not sharing it on social media. So obviously, you know, to be able to set yourself apart, to be able to have something that's super unique, where at least it makes people laugh, or like you said, it makes people make fun of you. Either way, as we know,
You're talking.
that's right. Either way, they're talking about you. So
Have you guys grown up, all you guys from the Valley?
Yeah.
Okay, so like growing up, when I got engaged, I went to Shanco, not because they had the best prices on a ring, just because from 5 years old, I've gotten ingrained Shanco, Scottsdale Road, Tacoma, 1 mile south of Bell Road. You got that whole lingo in here.
Yeah.
yeah,
When I joined real estate, I asked every friend, family, and agent I knew. I said, "Hey, who's the most famous real estate agent you know?" And that's not a question anyone ever gets. So they're like, "Oh, I don't know." So I heard a lot of Russell Shaw, Shannon Gillette, same people I've heard of since or not Shannon, but Russell, same when I was kids. So I was like, everyone knows the call Raffis, everyone knows 5 lawyers' phone numbers by heart. So I didn't really feel like there was ever that name in real estate. So now, like Andrew the Home Buyer, Doug Hopkins, and stuff like that. But I was trying to become one of those names. So I was like, I know not everyone's going to appeal to my marketing, but I'm going for the masses, not a targeted audience where 10% of the people love me. I just try to get there as much as I can.
Well, one of the things that you're talking about that a lot of agents, I think, are grasping now, maybe they're not doing it, but they're grasping it, is branding. Essentially, what you're saying in a box is branding. And I've tried to tell people the same thing, no matter what agency you go to, like I'm not a realtor, but regardless, like wherever you go, you are still your own brand, right? So people can recognize you because you've leaned into different, you know, and being bold about it. So that's very memorable. How is that?
Be a disadvantage at first, but it turned out being an advantage.
Yeah. So tell us about how that's grown for you and what that's done for your business.
So the first 4 years, it was great. I think this last year, starting about a year ago this time, has probably been my worst real estate year of my life, only because like I had an investment company where we scaled it over a year and a half to making 70 to 100 grand a month. We were doing nationwide wholesale novations. It wasn't, I got out of Arizona probably a year ago or a year and a half ago as far as marketing, just because every single appointment I went to, I'm going against wholesalers that will lock up stuff and walk it back. And I can't overcome a seller's objection.
Yep.
And I already know what they're going to do. Or when someone beats my price, I'm like, I got 5 people giving me the same price. So I know like not very many people can beat it unless they're an end buyer, or like Doug sometimes will lipstick and relist it. But overall, like I was getting beat out, coming up against people that lie to you, business partners stole money. So I kind of shut that business down. So it took probably 7 months just to get out of the bills we were paying every month, because not only did they take money and leave, but now I'm stuck with a $24K a month and all the, you know, how you go on some of these lead sources or CRMs, you're in a contract for a year or 6 months or whatever it is. So last 6 months of last year was probably the worst years of my life. And then the first 5 months of this 2025, it was more me trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I've done the retail at a high level, the wholesale investment at a high level, but I want to know what's going to make me happy. Because previous to real estate, I worked with kids. I was a truck driver, but my whole life has been like I'm on the board of the YMCA. Like kids charities mean a lot to me. So I was going to some of these cash buy appointments where kids live in the house, and I'm not one of those guys that's going to shut my mouth. Like some of these guys I want to punch in the face. I'm like the way their kids live, or the way they, you know, what they're spending money on. Like you're walking through the same house.
100%.
So like I can't keep my mouth shut. And I was like, dude, do I really want to do the investment side? Because I can go do my cash billboards and start getting all the appointments like we used to, but I'm not a closer like some of these guys. Like I'm not a skilled closer and scripter more. I'm just more personal and say, hey, I got a real estate license and I'm an investor. Like I can help you in many different forms, but like, what do you need? But now you're going against someone who's a high pressure, close, beat price, move on. So it's really hard for me. So January, got my broker's license. So I just spent January, February getting my broker's license, taking the test. And then beginning of June, I started getting my California license, because I've turned down some listings out there and some investment deals out there that I think could pay more money.
Heck yeah, California
currently
definitely
like California. So while I figure out my business, what I want to do here, I'm kind of getting the back end stuff done.
So Justin also does some cool stuff. So he's got I remember I think it was, I don't know, you might have posted it, I think it might have been a couple of years ago, but yeah, so Justin wraps his vehicles in like the Tattooed Realtor, and like they're all crazy, like super super cool though. And I don't know. You have to tell me how long ago it was, but you said that some girls recognized you, and it was like they had prom the next week, and they're like, "Oh, look at it's the Tattooed Realtor! Look how cool his car is!" And then, I don't know if you want to tell that story, but yeah, literally, pretty cool what you did.
Well, they came up to me in downtown Gilbert. We're eating, and there were two girls. They both were, I think, seniors in high school, and they go to Queen Creek High School. And I guess one of the girls' boyfriends broke up with her, so before prom, but she was supposed to go with him, and they saw me at Joe's Barbecue in downtown Gilbert, and they were like, "Hey, we saw that you had because I used to have a wrapped limo and a wrapped bus, and I would park it in downtown Gilbert as like not only did I have the billboards, but I had mobile billboards too." Because I'm one of those people you have to strike people's memory to get them talking about you, like top of mind. Like you can't expect to put a Facebook video out and expect someone to remember you in 2 months when they actually want to sell. So what I would do is I would park my stuff, because whether or not they liked you, they seen your stuff, they would always talk about it. Like when you see a fully wrapped limo or a bus, you're like, "Oh, I've seen that guy here or there," or I've seen it just kind of forces people to talk about you. So what I would do is I put a scooter in my bus, I drive it to downtown, I scooter back home, then I put it in the limo, drive this limo there, park it, and then scooter back home, and I'll leave it parked all weekend. So they had came up to me and said, "We remember your limo. Can you take us?" Because he ditched me, and I was like, "You know what? I don't have the limo anymore." It wasn't nice inside anyway. It was just more of a visual. I said, "But you can just have your mom call me." I gave him my card. I said, "You can take my Corvette." So I had one of those CH wrapped, and she's like, "You serious?" I was like, "Yeah, like you want to because her friend came out from California. But I'm just like that type of dude. I'm just like, I never had anything growing up, so to make people's day or like give them something they're not used to. Like my buddy let me borrow his Lamborghini one day, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Like, give me your keys, your Lamborghini. But since someone did that for me, I try to do that for everyone else now, just because I knew the feeling I had.
Well, that story like sticks out. I mean, I guarantee you, so many people remember that you did that, like, because that's obviously it says, handing the keys to $100,000 car to a couple kids in high school.
Yeah,
have
fun.
It's ballsy, but it's awesome. Like they obviously will remember that forever. And I mean, you definitely made an imprint in their lives for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what I heard you say, and I think, I mean, this is. I mean, I don't want to bring up the good, the bad, and the ugly, but like, I mean, you can be a great marketer, and with swings in the market, like it can just change everything. And I think that's you can have a swing in the market, but if you have a brand, right, you can adjust with swings in the market, right? If you're just everyday ordinary realtor and market swings, you're just kind of stuck doing, reinventing yourself. At least if you have a brand, when you reinvent yourself or change or California or whatever you want to do, at least you got a good following to get there, right?
Yeah, not just that, but I've learned so much through marketing. So I'm learning lessons early in my career that some people don't learn till 10 years in the business, right? So like I did commercials my second year in. I did that Monday Night Football commercial with the Cardinals and the Rams, and my website had a 780% uptick over the prior month in one day. Like one game boosted 780%, but my page was a landing page that was garbage. So people are now going to the page to see my credibility, and it's just like a quick landing page that gets people's info. So I wasn't getting the turnaround right there. And then she was like, "Oh, you only going to do your commercials running for a month?" And I said, "Yeah, that's all I can afford right now because commercials were expensive." And she's like, "People need to see you for 3 months to call." She's like, they're not going to call you first commercial they see. They have to see you over and over again. And me, I'm hard headed. I didn't know marketing. So, and to give you guys, I came into real estate 5 years ago, but I was a truck driver for 13 years. So I don't have a business background, a real estate marketing, branding. I've learned all this kind of just as I'm going, but you learn so much that does help you out. Like the billboards I was doing, I still get people that come up to me and say, "Oh, I see you all over the billboards, but I haven't had a billboard in Gilbert up in 8 months." So I'm like, "Do I really need a billboards for 2 full years, or can I do like 3 months on, 3 months off, 3 months on?" Because I don't think people regularly check where you're at. They know they saw you on there, so they assume you're always on there.
That's accurate.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks you learn from all the fails too. So I don't take back any failures this year. Like, I know I said 2024, beginning of 2025, like worst year. That's more like kind of just mentality wise and my overall happiness too. But I've learned so many lessons that will like bring me potential gains in the future.
Well, that's obviously a tip that you just mentioned that I would never have thought of or known, because if you would have asked me, I would have been like, yeah, I saw Justin on a billboard a couple months ago, but I know you said you hadn't done it for over a year. So, yeah. I mean, like you just said, I would have, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, I swore I saw you a couple months ago. So yeah, I mean, you're totally right there.
At the highest in the career, I had 18 billboards at once, which I don't think any agent can't like done or has done, but they gave me a huge discount on them. But I learned from there, like I could have one billboard and everyone thinks you're a millionaire. Like the credibility you have from just being on the billboard was crazy. When I had my first one, like I had people hitting me up for money. I'm like, dude, I'm broke too. But
my money's on the billboard.
Yeah. So I really do lean into like social credibility and try to really do think like a consumer. And you'd be surprised if even you spend an hour in ChatGPT and just put yourself as a consumer and tear your business apart, how much you will see the other end of what you're not seeing. Like, I know you said this message, but it might come across this way. And I've learned like just so many tips and tricks through this last year that I'm grateful that I've made so many mistakes in real estate or had any up and downs.
And then I think everybody says that you like your successes, you obviously you remember them, but you learn most of your stuff from the mistakes you make, right?
Yeah. Justin, I had a question too, because you have a fresh view of real estate, given that your background has absolutely nothing to do with it, which I think is really helpful. Why do you think that most agents and maybe not as much investors, I think maybe we think differently than a lot of agents, but why do you think most agents are so afraid or just don't think to do something different or bold like you have?
Because I think they lean into the experts, and I think all the experts are in it for recruiting on their team, getting deals sent to them. I don't think they give them all the information up front. So like when agents reach out to me when they first get licensed, I tell them the same stats I learned, because I went to real estate from a position where I didn't want to be here anymore, if that makes sense to you. So I didn't have another choice. So I was like, I've always wanted to do this, and I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to be here. So I'm just going to do real estate. And if it fails, I'm just going to do this anyway. So it doesn't matter. So I think people have to hit their back against the wall moment to ever step up and be the person they're going to be. So when I came into real estate, I didn't have a choice. It wasn't like oh, you might want to do social media videos. You might want to door knock. No, I don't have a choice. I have to, because if I don't, I'm going to do that again. Yeah. So I started open houses every single day. I would do open houses. I knew I wasn't going to door knock or cold call because my look. I'm not going to nurture someone for 7 months and then they see me in person and I got to overcome my objection for the look. So social media was where I dug my heels in, but it also is not a career where you can, what are they called? Not ROI. What's key index performance? KPI. So you can't create KPIs over social media, but that's what 90% of the industry wants to do right now, is just point at words on the screen or tour a home, and they think they're going to get an influx of 20 buyer leads, and it doesn't happen that way. They only have their audience. So I think people get the wrong message. Like real estate's a hustle career, and there's so many people that get their license because their grandma made or their aunt made $100K in it. That easy. Or it's the glitz and glamour. They don't see that, oh damn, I've been nurturing this lead forever and they still haven't purchased. I just think people have the wrong idea what real estate actually is.
Oh yeah. No. I think you're accurate there. I think if people only have the slightest idea that you have to work your ass off, that it's real estate's kill, it's each what you kill. And right now there's not a lot of killing going on right now.
But to give you guys credit for what you guys do, so had I not learned the investment space from the first team I was on that did fix and flips and wholesale. So my second year in real estate, I did 43 deals, but 5 of them were wholesale deals. And those came like in the very end of the second year. I was on Matt Chick's real estate team, so I was learning wholesale. And those 5 deals paid me more than like 12 of the retail deals. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I kind of want to learn this space. But
Yeah.
cut to now where I've had a business with Templeton where you learn the fix and flips, you learn the wholesale, you learn creative financing. Those months of bad real estate, when the markets go up and down, the only thing that saved me from paying the $36,000 a month bill or $28,000 when we had both companies was the investment space. Like
Mm.
at least knowing like I tanked this month on retail where I had zero retail closings, but at least I had 2 wholesales, one for $5K and one for $7K that saved me from, or once I got my ad spend down. Like you do get saved by the knowledge you have in real estate.
No, there's no question about that.
Luke,
Something else.
what do you know about wholesale cash flow versus retail?
You know,
what do you mean?
Oh no, I joke with Luke because in 2022 he was like, "I'm gonna rehab it all. I'm gonna rehab it all." I'm like, maybe you should do a little wholesale because that little cash flow helps every now and then. It's a little inside joke I have with Luke.
Yeah, Chris messes with me all the time because in 2022 we had a point where we had like 43 projects going at one time.
It's so many.
And thank God we got out of majority of them. But yeah, we ended up wholesaling probably like 20 of them, and then we ended up still flipping like 20 of them. But it was not pretty. I mean, we had our monthly nut was well over 6 figures. It was like 130K a month. And it was terrifying. Like it was just absolutely terrifying, you know. And luckily, you know, like I said, we were able to dump a decent amount of it. But what Chris was saying though is he had told me to stop.
About it every now
He's like, no, you just need to wholesale all of those, man. He's like, you know, maybe flip some of them, but don't flip as many as you guys are. And yeah, we got snapped in 2022. Let's just say that.
So slow and steady wins the race sometimes, boys.
Yeah.
Why don't you Tracy? Why don't you have your license? Is this something that just more? It's not worth it time-wise for you to get your license now, or is it easier to have someone else listed?
I did have my license when I worked behind the scenes for other investors, but it was more for an operational capacity. And after talking to my attorney and just going back and forth, it just doesn't make sense for me to have. And, you know, there's enough options at this point to where, especially with the amount of experience that I have, having been a high volume listing agent for investors, I can just direct someone else that has their license to be able to do it without the exposure. So it just doesn't make sense for me to do it, or me to have it rather. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's great for like new agents to just, you don't have to do wholesale. You don't have to do fix and flip, but it's good to learn like what they do.
No question.
Just like, I think 2 of the last buyers I had, I got them homes from the wholesale list. Since they don't want to pay retail right now. And then we go to these homes, like they had a $700K budget. That payment on their $700,000. Like I was like, dude, that's ridiculous. It's like almost $500 or $5,000 a month. Almost.
Right.
So what I would do with them now is I sent them homes that were like in the 500 wholesale range, but in the area they wanted to be. But some of those ARVs, 800, 750 in that same area. So I let them know about the hold costs. Like, just depends on how they want to buy it. They can hold it. We can lock them up into have a loan that they can refi out of. I can work with the owner, try to get a seller finance until, like, there's so many different ways that I've learned just from doing one deal here and there. Like, I just learned how to seller finance, but it's not like I'm not an expert in seller finance by any means, but at least I have the knowledge of, it's possible to lock up properties this way for my buyers too. And I think that's the biggest change I've experienced this year, is bringing my buyers and my sellers into the investment world and saying, like, here's things that you guys can do with homes. Like, you guys can do the same thing.
Well, what we always call that is having all the tools in your tool belt, you know, being able to just come say, hey, you know what, if this isn't the best option for you, I've got this option. Or if you are looking for something that you're open to, you know, rehabbing a little bit, boom, I've got this option for you, you know. So it's really good to have that in this type of a market.
Well, I think
you also got the people that fear of buying top of market, right? So if you save them $200,000 on a purchase, like, obviously some of the houses need the full gut, like that's not for them. But you know, you save someone $200,000 on that $700,000 price point, and they could drop another 10%, but they're still in the money.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it gets the conversation started at least, because those same people were the ones that said we're going to wait until the rates come down to 5.
Yeah.
So it's either like, you know, when someone tells you I'm going to buy in 6 months, they really buy in 3 months. So you always have to stay on top of them. But that's what this investment space allows me to do too, is I'm still keeping in touch with them every day. These people that said, don't talk to me for 6 months because they're going to wait. I still get to talk to them every single week because, you know, wholesale is like, even if the house doesn't work for them and I know it won't, I still send it to them to spark the conversation to stay top of mind. I think people start getting lazy and stop doing that.
Well, a couple of things I hear you saying too, Justin, is like you don't, again, since you don't come from a real estate background and you said you don't have a business background, but I like the way that you're thinking of how do I market myself and how do I become really resourceful for what's needed in the market? Whereas from my perspective, most agents are like, well, maybe I want to get into investing. So I go to real estate school to get my license. And then 20 years later, they only can think as a real estate agent and everything else is dark and bad and illegal and scary. And they're averse to social media or doing it in such a way that's like bold and memorable. Whereas you flip the script to say, how do I back into doing more deals by virtue of branding myself and retooling?
Yeah. And having conversations too. I learned so many lessons through the career that I try to give to agents. I know you're gonna have agents on here, but I think a lot of people close off like their losses and wins. They don't want people to know the systems they're using. They don't want people to know they're struggling. When I started to be more open with where I was struggling is when my business started boosting. It's because like I had a meeting with Jason Mitchell. We met for an hour and a half. Some people like him, some people don't, but I'm like, this guy's got the biggest team in the nation. I wanted to learn from him. Right. So went up with him. And at that time, because I struggled with mental health before I got into real estate, and I put myself on a platform with all these, the commercials, the Spanish radio, the billboards where like people start thinking you're a multimillionaire and you're like, no, I'm trying to build my business. Like every dollar I get goes back into it. So like technically I'm broke just like everybody else. Like even though I'm making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month, I put it all back in my business. But when the market tanked, I got super depressed because I'm like, dude, I got all these bills. Like rates are at 7. I have a team. Like there was so much that was going on in my head, like I'm failing type thing. Went and met with Jason. Come to find out, like people claim bankruptcy. Like some of these top agents went bankrupt 3 different times.
Right.
And not to say that's bad, just like, wow, you built all this from that. Like I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know someone like you could go broke. Like so when I started opening up about the losses or the pain I was experiencing in the industry is when I started learning that every person before me had the same struggles I had.
Absolutely.
So you see social media where everyone posts their wins. They don't post their losses. So it was nice for me to finally come out of my shell too and start opening my mouth to people and saying, hey, here's where I'm losing right now. Here's where I'm winning.
Right.
Mostly when you're telling them where you're lost, everyone loves helping you. Like everyone wants to help you. And there's scripts that teach you how to fail on a call. Sandler Sales taught us how to do that, where you almost play dumb because people naturally want to save you out of what you're saying wrong. But when you start telling people where you're struggling, like people are going to naturally save you. They're going to show you the things you're not doing or give you that perspective of, dude, I was there. Here's the mentality it takes to get over that. Because that's what I struggled with. Was like I grew up teaching and drove a semi. I don't know business. I didn't know real estate. So I didn't ever have a strong like mental capacity to get over the stuff that I was struggling with. If that makes sense.
For sure.
Thanks for sharing that, by the way. I think that's really valuable, especially for a lot of people and especially for men too. I think it, in those sort of climates to where it's like, hey, no one wants to be the first to admit like things aren't going how I planned them to go. And maybe I'm suffering from some losses or going through some stuff personally. So I think it's really good that you share that, especially for other men to hear.
Oh, Chris, when Templeton and I split, we started looking at all the deals and stuff because I learned to scale a wholesale flip investment business from Templeton.
Right.
So in that business, I think you bought like 60% of the homes that we locked up under contract. Chris
probably sounds accurate.
Was at the time. So I look at all his social media and I start automatically getting like, damn, dude, like how does this guy have all this? Like he's doing this, and you start getting that comparative mode that I never learned that you can't be in. Like you're just going to fail if you're in that space. So it was.
If I were to go up against you with social media, you would crush me. Like, but I just do it just to like you said, just like stay kind of top of mind. It's not like I mean, if anybody saw my social media, they'd be like, "This guy sucks." But like,
consistent though. You're consistent, Chris.
I just throw a couple things out there. Ones,
You're getting better.
And I throw it across all platforms. Like everything that goes on here, I'll do a short to YouTube. I'll do a short to LinkedIn. I haven't actually logged into LinkedIn in 2 years. It's my virtual. it'll go out that, this goes out to, then after we do this video, like you'll go see the video right now. If you were to go to my YouTube channel, it's like 30 views, but then tomorrow morning, after she puts on what's the little thing that goes over the top? The thumbnail. The VA will go put the cute little thumbnail on the top of it, and then boom, send it out to the whole Phoenix RIA, and then all of a sudden, wow, now it's been watched 150 times. It'll just be like you'll get, if you're on the Phoenix RIA group, you'll be like, oh, did you miss the episode with Justin yesterday? Like, here it is with the cute little thumbnail, and click here, and like, but I've never been viral ever once. Never had 500. You said 500,000 views or something like that on something
on mine.
Oh, 500 shares. He said.
Oh, 500
shares is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you also didn't have a woman doing a thigh clap in a pool, spraying water at you to transition to your commercial. So I bet if you did something like that, you'd probably have some more views.
Yeah. So, but
that was a bear video too. That clap video. It was because at that time, everyone was posting. You ever see those talking head videos where the investor's driving and the words are on the screen and they're just telling you about their day? Well, everyone was doing that. That was the trend at the time. So what I told the team, and we had a team meeting, I said, look at, like, if you guys want to, because everyone's attacking buyers and sellers, but the market had turned at that point. So I was like, right now, you need to be targeting investors and people that you can get some of these houses for cheaper. And because I was trying to teach my team how to do in the investment space as well. But I was saying, don't just do the videos, like do this where you can show your friends and family, because everyone has to realize their social media is a core following. It's your friends, your family, your coworkers. Like there's not home buyers that are following you. They're going to see they have to see your video in their scroll. And if you're not interacting with them already, you're not going to be in their scroll anyway. So you can do a great video about earnest money, but you're doing it for who? Your mom and your sister. The people are going to use you, right? Because if Instagram sees that everyone's coming off the video, they're going to hide your video because they can't monetize off of it. So what I was teaching my agents at the time is like, you got to hook them in. Like you're going to be talking about something 90% of people don't care about at the time. So you have to hook them in somewhere. And that's why I showed them, I said, I'm going to use this video. This is before the transition ones became popular. This was like 2 years ago, that video. But she clapped her leg. And then I said, and then people are going to start losing your attention in 7 seconds. Like you can't just expect them to, oh, he did something funny, I'm going to stay on this video. I said, so you got to entice them again by doing, so that's why I did it again. I said, if it's 30 seconds, at least you can grab their attention for the full video and hope that helps you on the algorithm. But it was more just teaching agents or even investors that you're in a boring career field that 90% of social media doesn't care about. So you have to do something to make them care about you for a second.
Make yourself memorable. Yeah.
I think what you learned is, you're going to have your home buyer, but your home buyer transacts once every 5 years, call it. Yeah. You have to have a couple investors or, be a wholesaler or whatever, because those transact monthly, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously if you're Russell Shaw, like, and you have, the guy transacting every 5 years, but you have so many of them that they're transacting a bunch. But if you're a new agent and you don't understand our space, you probably see one of our offers coming along and like, who's this jerk? Instead of understanding what we're really doing, because we're transacting.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think something that kind of taken from this, and again, it kind of ties back into our 100th episode, but think about how everyone has such different strengths. You know what I mean? Like with everyone that's even here. I mean, Justin, you were mentioning obviously about Chris, about how he does so many deals, and then same thing. Chris is saying, but look at your social media. I mean, everyone's got their different things that they're different strengths as to why everyone here has been somewhat successful at some point. And it's cool to see that there's not someone that's just got every single strength locked up. It's what makes our industry super unique. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it difficult. It's It's a tough industry. There's no doubt about it. But typically the people that are creative, the people that do kind of, figure out some sort of way to stick out tend to stick around.
Yeah.
So with that, we got one question. As realtors, should you move more as a marketer or as a realtor? I'll let you answer that, Justin. I already know what the answer is.
I think branding and marketing tie, and it's different because you have to put yourself in front of the right people in the first part. But there's so many different things with, like, people think that putting their name on a water bottle and handing it open house is marketing. It's not really marketing. It's the conversation that you have handing them that, like, are they going to become memorable? Like, so I give, like, my business cards, like, these are metal.
Yeah, those are
it's
sweet.
Like a platinum card. So if you look, like, it's exactly like a American Express black card. And on the back, it has, like,
oh, that's dope.
Let's ink a deal.
Isn't that awesome?
That's pretty dope. Yeah.
Website, email, phone number. And on front, like, my Instagram's right there, my name. But this is a business card. I did this because you have to always think, if you're going to do marketing, you have to think like a marketer, which is, how do I get myself in front of people and stay top of mind? Not just like, how do I make a commercial? Because you can make the best commercial in the world, but if it's not targeted to the right people, is it marketing? Yes or no? So when I went to family reunion for KW, everyone had business cards and they were all thrown in the lobby when you're done. Like, so I walk out to the casino afterwards, you see a ton of business cards in the trash and left everywhere. I bet if that was a debit card, no one would throw it away. But that one little thought, being a smart ass to myself, was like, damn, why don't I just make my business card a debit card? So when it's metal and it's in your wallet, like, you don't want to throw it away. Yeah. So it's not, if I ever hand this business card that's regular to a person in the conversation, like, hopefully they remember me. But something like this, that it toggles their memory back to you. Like, oh, this guy thinks out of the box. He's not like everybody else. I've kept this
for sure
part of my purse for the last 2 months or whatever it is. Taking marketing as like a tube of toothpaste. Like, don't just say you're a marketer because you did this flyer that you hand out here. Like, squeeze a toothpaste bottle. Like, when you're out and you're broke, you twist it up. You try to get every ounce out of that tube, right? So if you're doing an open house flyer, you think, who am I going to hand this to? Like, why are they going to want it? They're not going to want it. So how do I make them want it? If you have those kind of conversations, the follow-up 1, 2, to me, that's marketing, because you're actually putting thought in behind.
Yeah.
Put some thought behind what your marketing piece is, and you'll see a big change, I think.
For sure. Okay, I got to ask, what do those business cards cost per business card?
Yeah, I was wondering.
So these ones are like $5. They were $7 each. I got them down to $5, but I only give them to, like, people like cancel expired, $1 million plus. Okay, I mailed them these too, and them knowing, oh, this guy thinks differently. That's what's going to set you apart from another agent. But you can do cheap ways too. Like, I do these. You guys know when Joker, when he leaves his business card places, it's just the Joker card, because he knows they need him. He doesn't need them.
Right.
So I started making, like, Joker cards for my YouTube. Like, my YouTube's on here, and on the back, it's like my logo that leads to my YouTube, and then it's a YouTube. But handing them different things that it's like, oh, like, it's not a business card, it's a playing card. Right. It is my business card, right? Just that's having cool. Just to let people know you're different. You're not, you hand them their business card just like every other salesman they've ever talked to.
Right.
Yeah. You put effort and you care about your craft, you care about your business. I think that's when they get more curious about your business.
Absolutely. I got a question. If I take that business card to Vegas, can I say put it on Justin's account?
Well, every time I hand it to somebody, I don't tell them what it is. I hand it to them because, and I promise you, 9 out of 10 times, they always, as soon as they feel it, they know it's different. They're like,
oh yeah.
So then they start looking at it, and the very first thing they say, oh no, you gave me your, I'm like, no, it's not my debit card. It's the actual business card. And then they start looking at it and they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. That's unique. I've never seen that before. But they're telling you everything about they're giving you compliments. Like, you're not just handing a business card for them to throw away. You're having more conversation behind it.
I used to work for an investor that his business card it looked like a folded $100 bill, and then his information was on the inside. And the disappointment that was on people's faces, he would hand it to them like this, as if you're tipping. They're like, oh my God, you don't need to do that. And he's like, oh, it's my business card. And then just like all the hope sunk from their expression. Like, I'm like, I don't know if that's the best conversation.
Yeah. No, that's funny. That's awesome though.
Well, cool, Justin. We appreciate you jumping on here.
Appreciate you having me on.
So yeah, like I said, we're gonna blast it out to the Phoenix RIA tomorrow and all the emails, and hopefully what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Instagram, like Call Tattoo, and then that everything is on there, and I answer all the DMs and all that myself. I try to help wherever I can if people have questions.
Awesome.
Just go to Lifetime Gilbert in the morning.
Or Lifetime Gilbert.
Yeah, or go to
There you
Lifetime
go.
Gilbert in the morning.
Justin, I might have to do think of a bold marketing. I tend to stay pretty middle of the road on my branded page, so I might take a page from your book and do something a little bit more out
Hit
there.
me up too, because even thinking about other people's marketing helps me like stay fresh and think of ideas for myself too. So if you ever need help, I love doing stuff like that. So,
Yeah, man, I might take you up on that.
for sure.
Cool.
I think I might be giving you a call too then.
There we go.
We're gonna line up calls with you right
Yep.
after this.
Marketing brainstorm.
Yeah, you're only a mile away anyway. So
I know, seriously.
All right, so so next week is 4th of July, so we're gonna take off, because it's like Christmas in the summer, right? Nobody's gonna,
Absolutely.
no one's gonna watch us. We got 17 people watching us right now. No one's gonna watch us next week. So,
Yeah.
and then we do have the real estate commissioner coming back in September. So we're back in the big room in Orange Tree. We're expecting 200,000 people, or not 200 people.
Holy
I was
moly!
gonna say.
Yeah. So yeah, some fun stuff. So we'll have 200 people events both September and October for Phoenix RIA. So it should be fun. So
I'm gonna go to those meetups too. So yeah,
Nice.
come on out. So
Yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping on with us.
appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
See you guys.
guys.
Yeah.